Man, is it just me, or did just not a lot of people fuse this month's fusion champ? Good old Brugard Jeroboam. Did you fuse him? What do you guys think? I feel like not a lot of people went for this guy, and we had a lot of people skipping, which leads me to believe that, well, leads me on to the core topic of this video. Really, I think next month's fusion is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be insane. It's due to land somewhere within the next couple of weeks. And after Jeroboam, I just get the sense that a big fusion is coming, man. So let's be ready for it, shall we? Especially because it's going to be probably a mixed style fusion, some of the hardest fusions to complete, man. So what is up, guys? This is Cobb. If you're a new player watching this video is going to be a huge heads up on the kind of resources that you're going to want to stockpile in future months to be able to take part in these guaranteed legendary fusion events that occur every month in Raid Shadow Legends. And for the more veteran players, this is of course just going to be more of a reminder video. Before we get to that, man, free energy time. If you want a free energy refill, 10 free experience brews, and 100,000 silver, then make sure to go ahead and get good old promo code GameLeap used. If you used this code in the past, then it is going to say invalid promo code, but it was recently reactivated by Plarium, so if you haven't used this code before, good old code GameLeap will save you well, man. And you know what? If you have used code GameLeap before, make sure to share it with your clan mates as well, man, and just spread the love a little bit. Alright, man, because the Jeroboam event was a fragment summon event, very likely that the upcoming fusion, whatever it's going to be, is probably going to be a full or a mixed fusion event, which means you're going to need to be stocked up like crazy on your potions. How many exactly are you going to need? Well, I think it makes sense for us to prepare for the possibility that we're going to be collecting 16 rare champions in total for next month's fusion, then fusing those into 4 epic champions, and then fusing those into the new legendary. This means that you need farmed at least 144 greater potions of every affinity, just so that you're kind of ready to go no matter what affinity it's going to be, and 108 greater arcane potions right here. So you can see I'm well and truly covered on that front. Then you're going to want at least 24 superior potions of every affinity and 12 superior arcane potions. And for any newer players watching, this is because you need to, of course, max ascend up any champions that you're going to use as a fusion component, as you can see right here in the Rajan Scarhide fusion, which I'm actually ready to do for the next CVC, by the way. Finally going to be getting this one done, which is great. But yeah, potions have got to be in good supply. Now that is the sort of like the least of your worries a little bit. If I go on into my champion vault right here, I'm doing my best to stock up on food champions again, because again, you're going to need to rank up any rare or epic champions that you get for next month's fusion as well. So how much food are you actually going to need for those? You actually need 48 3-star food champions, or 48 3-star chickens ready to go to rank up and ascend up the rare champions in next month fusion, if it is going to include rare champions. So that's 48 3-star foods, and you're going to need 16 4-star foods to take up your epic champions. So just make sure that you've got those secured and sort of ready to rock and roll in your vault. And of course, you ideally want plenty of food on top of that as well, just so you can have, you know, champs ready to rank up and champs ready to upgrade for things like the champion training tournament and champion training event and stuff like that as well. That kind of goes without saying. Next thing as well is I would recommend a minimum going into these events of 25 million silver in the bank and ready to go. Ideally, you've got 25 million silver and some items that you can craft soon in the forge when the next CVC starts or whatever, so that you can sell off a whole bunch of items and make some more silver back that way. But 25 million silver is kind of just a good starting point to go into a fusion event chain with, right? Because over the course of those couple of weeks during the fusion events, you're going to have usually 3 artifact enhancement events, and those on average take somewhere between 15-ish million to get through those artifact enhancement events. And so 25 million silver is like a starting point. Will kind of squeak you through the first couple of artifact enhancement events, and then just at some point during those 2 weeks, you've got to find a way to make the other 15 million silver. Ideally, you go in with like 40 million in the bank already, and you're just kind of comfortable. But yeah, 25 million silver. I'd recommend that as just a good starting point to begin fusion events with. Now, next up, we've got gems, and, well, as you can probably tell, I do buy the monthly gem pack on this main account right here, so we're sitting pretty on nearly 4,000 gems just now on the main account, but as long as you've got about, I'd say, 1,500 gems, you should have enough gems to buy energy potions from the shop, which is the main thing that you're going to be spending your gems on, especially during fusion events, right? There's a lot of grindy events that you've got to kind of work your way through, things like dungeon tournaments, dungeon divers, and stuff like that. And so I'd say like 1,500 gems is a very, very comfortable cushion to get you through all of those dungeon stages, especially if you're only able to farm like the lower stages of the dungeons, like stage 10s or stage 16s. It's not going to be quite as sufficient for you, so you can probably get through a fusion with 1,000 gems. 1,500, if possible, would make it really quite comfortable, right? You'd have plenty of energy refills to get through the dungeon grindy tournaments. Now, to disappoint any new players that are watching this video and are looking to see if they can get involved in a fusion event, if you've been playing for a couple of months, you're probably still a little bit of ways off, right? The shards. Oh man, the shards. Super easy on my account, farming the hell out of Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. I've got plenty of sacreds just lying around. 6 sacred shards is generally the minimum that you want in the bag going into these fusion events. You can get away with 5 sacred shards. The big problem event that you're going to have trouble with is the summon rush event. You can usually get through those and pick up the champion fragments or the on the fusion champion or whatever using 6 sacred shards, and that's going to be very, very comfortable and very, very neatly done. If you've only got like 5 sacred shards, you can pull 5 sacred shards and then 500 mystery shards, and there's ways that you can kind of like squeak your way through it a little bit. And additionally, ancient shards as well. You're going to need a decent stockpile of these, usually to get through the Champion Chase tournament. You'll be needing about 50 ancient shards if there is a 2x ancient shard event active at the time. If there is no 2x event active at the time, then you usually need about like 70-ish ancient shards instead. So somewhere between 50 and 70 plus to be most comfortable. And I do just want to say, if this feels completely impossible to get done as a new player, don't fret too much. It's mostly about farming the higher levels of Clan Boss. That's going to get you a very, very steady income of shards coming in every single month. And so, yeah, just continue developing your account. Don't feel like you need to rush to like start getting involved in fusions and stuff like that. Most players are going to take 3 or 4 months before they can start really considering saving up their shards and saving up resources to get involved in a fusion. That's it. If you're a little bit low on ancient shards, one thing that you can do to make things a little bit easier and sort of prepare ahead of time for these fusions is actually prepare the Broadmoor fusion right here in your summoning portal, or just any fusions really, and just have these ready to pull and ready to fuse before the events begin. Fusing champions during the Champion Chase tournament is just going to give you free tournament event points. Fusing Broadmoor alone, because he's a Void Epic, it's 350 tournament points. Just for free if you prepare this fusion ahead of time. And I always like to have at least a couple of Broadmoor components just all sort of ready to go, so I can fuse Broadmoors whenever I need them, sort of in a pinch. Now, of course, this is not going to help you out in the Summon Rush event, which, you know, you get points based on the quality of shard that you're pulling, but for the Champion Chase tournaments, it's just get champions by any means necessary, and that includes fusions at your portal building. And again, if you're a little bit low on ancient shards, you just don't have a lot of ancient shards lying around, preparing a Broadmoor fusion in particular can just be a very, very easy way to kind of act as like a stand-in for your ancient shards, right? I think one Broadmoor fusion is probably worth like 5 or 6 ancient shards ish in terms of tournament points. You know, it depends how lucky you get, obviously. Hell, it's probably worth like 10 ancient shards if there's not a 2x event active, you know. It's pretty good. So in conclusion, and more than anything, I'd just say pay attention to your potion stockpiles, boys, and make sure that you are paying attention to when each of the dungeon days open, so you can set a date on your calendar to farm a certain potion keep if you're a little bit lacking on these. And moreover, more important than anything really, is just don't be baited by any events in the coming week or so, right? You maybe pulled your sacred shards, I guess, for the Path of the Fate Weaver. I'd say just hold on to everything else for like the next week or two now, especially if you're like a newer player and maybe you're a few months in and you're thinking about doing the fusion next month. Hell, go for it. Best of luck to you. We'll be doing like a fusion plan and stuff, and a fusion calendar plan as soon as the fusion comes out, so we can help you guys out with that. But just be aware, man, that Plarium are gonna do their goddamn best to drain your supplies, usually in like the first like 8 or 9 days leading up to a new fusion event at the start of the next month. So you just gotta be aware of that. You gotta stay strong. You gotta hold those goddamn shards as best as you possibly can. And well, that is if you're close to having enough resources to maybe take take part in your first fusion. And if all of this talk of beginners is getting you all nostalgic to start off a new raid account, a new alt account, a new free-to-play account, if you will, then hell, make sure to start that new account by clicking on my beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description, man. You get yourself 4 free epic champions, and all you gotta do is make sure that you're signed out of Plarium Player before downloading raid with that link. It's as easy as that, man. One of the best beginner starts going using that link, man. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed just this quick sort of reminder style video, and I'm going to catch all of you all just a tad bit later, man.